Hello and welcome to episode 34 of Soccercraft. In between episodes, I've been very busy doing some terraforming in the Sun Warrior Temple area. But you already saw that in the opening time lapse. Basically, what we did is we made a bunch of pedestals to put the builds on in this area, and it kind of fits the theme for the Sun Warrior Temple a little bit more because they, in the show, when walking through, they would have these like walls all around them. And I even went as far as to add the traps that they had in as where is it? Right here, we have a trap and it creates an exploding rocket. So basically it's a tripwire here. You can sort of see the string going along here. And it goes to that tripwire here and it just runs a piece of redstone over to this dispenser. And if you're running through here, you actually get hit by it. It does a little bit of damage. I like it. It's a little bit of a fun feature to have in this area. And with all the work that I got done, this area is looking awesome. Let's have a quick look at the block palette. We went with grass, dirt, stone, and mossy cobble and sandstone to do the walls here. And it really creates the feel that I was going for. It holds up. It's kind of a retaining wall is kind of the feel I was going for. I started out doing the walls on the outside here where the water was, and I thought, this area is supposed to be overgrown. So I just continued it back through and did it on all of these little pedestals or plateaus. Plateaus is the word that I was looking for. And it translates beautifully onto the maps of the area. You can see where the plateaus are and where I might be doing some of the buildings. It kind of sucks to have the framework gone like this piece right here. But we'll still have a good idea of where I want to put buildings in this area. And I know I wanted to try some diagonal buildings here. And yeah, you know what? I kind of remember what I had planned. And now speaking of plans, what are our plans for this episode? Well, I want to tackle a small problem I'm having over at the gunpowder farm. You see, this gunpowder farm is filling up too quickly with gunpowder. It's too efficient and it gets full so fast that I have to come through and just it's taking up all my shulker boxes. And it's going to continue to take up all my shulker boxes because I want to do is add a shulker box loader in here, and I want to send all of the shulker boxes up into a storage room in this orange building spot right here. So yeah, basically the plan is to take all the gunpowder that we're getting from the creeper farm, send it up in shulker boxes into this orange building that we're going to have here. And yeah, we'll never have to go down into the creeper farm again, and we can look at maybe closing off the top of the creeper farm in the near future. Now, closing off the top of the creeper farm will reduce the rates for it quite a lot, so we're going to wait as long as possible to do that. But it is something we're going to do eventually to cover the rest of this area in desert. So let's get started looking at this shulker loader, shall we? So I'm going to use the same shulker loader that I have at the back of this storage room here. And it's designed by the guy 1604. I'll have a link to the tutorial in the description, but I'm going to try to do my best to describe how to build it to you in today's episode. Let me just take a quick look and see if I can even remember how to build it. So I think I have everything I need for this redstone build in this shulker box. And I dug out a little room to try to build it in. So let me grab this stuff and I'll see if I can walk you through it. First, we need to figure out where the shulker box is going to go, so we need to figure out where the dispenser is going to go. The dispenser is going to spit out the shulker boxes, which is then going to be loaded from a separate hopper line loading the shulker box. We're going to take a hopper line going into the side of the dispenser to fill the dispenser with shulker boxes, and we're going to send that up a few blocks. And now we can place a temporary block in front of the dispenser and have a hopper going into that, and that's going to be the hopper line that's going to be feeding the shulkers. Next, we're going to take our observers and we're going to place one right on top of the dispenser to power it, one directly behind it also facing down, and another one over here facing up. Next, we place the piston next to this observer, facing down so it will break the shulker, and which will then be collected in the hopper right here. And last but not least, let's get another observer facing in this direction. So now we need to place our building blocks right here behind this hopper here. And next to this dispenser, we need 3 building blocks as well. We can put a comparator onto this block here to detect whenever an item goes into this hopper, and put another comparator here to detect how full the shulker box gets. We're going to set this to subtract mode and have another comparator pointing into that next to a cake. Now a cake reads a comparator signal strength of 13, and that compared into this comparator will let this system know when the shulker box is full, and that will then use the piston to break the shulker box and send it off on its way. But for any of this to work, we're going to have to remember to add the redstone. So we're going to add redstone lines across these observers here, and then in the middle we're going to put a redstone repeater set to 4 ticks. And now quickly come to the back where the cake is and put a building block underneath this observer here, and that's going to be used to power the dispenser as well. So now in theory, if you take an empty shulker box, put it through this hopper line, it should get dispensed, which will now be able to be filled by this hopper line here. And we can come in, check to see how full it is, and yeah, so now I just need to figure out a way to connect up this hopper line with this water line here. And here's what that looks like. So we got the water extended going forward. Whoa, let me down. Okay, and it comes around and sends it to the hopper that loads the shulker box. Now, do I have a shulker box in the system? Yes, I do, but now here, let me break this comparator so we can see what's in the shulker box. So we only have a little bit of gunpowder coming into here right now because the other chests aren't full yet. Once they get full, that's when this system is going to start being used. So I just need a few more chests to be filled up, and then this system will be active. But that should take no time at all. I also added this light up display to show me how full the shulker box is. How it works is we read the output from the shulker box and send it along to the back of the display. Oh my god, there's a bunch of mobs in there. Well, you get the idea. If you want to see how that works out fully, you're going to have to go check out the guy 1604's tutorial, which is linked down in the description. And so now whenever this shulker box gets full, it'll get broken and sent along this hopper line to what I'm going to make here next, which is a dropper elevator all the way up to the top here, which should bring us to our orange building. Now we just get our shulker boxes in place. And we build the dropper elevator. And everything to do with the Shulker Loader is now complete. We can now start thinking about what we're going to do for this build. And I've spent the last few days gathering materials for this build, and I've just got to say, collecting up blocks of copper is really difficult. I can't wait for the 1.18 update with the giant ore veins. That will hopefully make collecting copper a whole lot easier. But yeah, what do we have? We have copper, we have blocks of raw iron. I want to try using blocks of raw iron in the foundation here right in front of us, and I think that could be a really cool effect. But how about rather than talking about it, we hop into a time lapse, get this build done, and I can talk about it after it's built. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. We got this built up and I kind of winged it, but it turned out pretty good. Let's take a quick look from the sky. So we once again did the overgrown look with the leaves over top, the copper roof, and the birch and sandstone look. There's not a ton of birch in here, but we mixed it in where we could. And I really like how the raw iron looks with the foundation. I mixed that with some of the terracotta. But yeah, the design of this house turned out really well. Also, I took a little bit of time to try to do a little bit of an interior for this build, a little table and chairs, a little bit of a garden area, and I used this area here to block and cover up the item elevator. So all the items will come up underneath these barrels. They will appear into this barrel. Actually, we've gotten 6 full shulker boxes of gunpowder since I've been building this. And I usually just take them from here, move them over to this barrel where I'm going to deal with them later. And also, in between building this, we did a little bit of end raiding so I could get some extra shulker boxes for the system. Now, I could still probably use a few more shulker boxes in the system, but it's starting to get pretty well filled up. This is going to last probably about, I think there's about 30 shulker boxes in there, but when we've gone through all 30 of those shulker boxes, I don't want to collect anymore, and I want to take the gunpowder along here to what will soon be its final resting place. And I want that final resting place to take all the gunpowder all the way over, up through the mountain, and then into this pink square here. In this pink square, I want to build the Sun Warrior Temple Immortal Flame. So it's kind of like they have this fire at the Sun Warrior Temple, which never goes out. So I want all the extra gunpowder from the creeper farm to go through some sort of dispenser, which will make them land into the fires, keeping the eternal flame lit. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this built up, and I'll see you guys when we get back. Welcome back. As you saw in that time lapse, I built up the eternal flame here out front of the mountains, but I didn't think it looked good, so I just started digging, and we made this nice, beautiful, lush cave. It's themed after the lush caves coming up in the new update. I recently got some of this drip leaf, and I really wanted to use it, and I thought this was a really good way to do it. The only way you can get that right now is from trading with a wandering trader. But then we come down here, and this is where I decided to put the eternal flame, and I already linked it up down with the gunpowder farm, so if any gunpowder surpasses the system, it will eventually make its way here and into the eternal fire to keep it lit. So basically, whenever we get gunpowder coming into the system and it doesn't get sucked up by the hoppers anymore, the gunpowder will continue along here all the way down to that corner, and then it will go up around the corner to a bubble column, which will take it to its final resting place in the eternal flame. But that shouldn't be for a while, because we still have a lot of shulker boxes in the system. And if you're asking, Sokka, what are you gonna do with all the gunpowder? The answer is, I have no idea. Maybe turn some of it into TNT, mostly rockets, but I have way too much gunpowder already, and we're just gonna have an absolutely ridiculous amount when it's all said and done. But with that being said, I'm running out of time for today's episode. So I'm really happy with how this build turned out, and all the redstone that's used to bring it up in shulker boxes helps save me the trouble of putting into shulker boxes myself. And the addition of this custom lush cave in this area is just another nice touch that I wasn't expecting to make today. So I'm really happy with this addition as well. Man, I can't wait for this thing to actually have gunpowder raining down into it. And before the episode even started, I got a ton more great work done on this area over here, just preparing to get some of the builds in place. And speaking of the builds, wow, that copper is really starting to oxidize. I definitely need to stop procrastinating on this bee farm. It must be what I'm doing next episode. So in the next episode, I'm hoping to make a bee farm so we can actually make it so these roofs are the color that I want them to be. And yeah, we'll see about what else we're going to do. I'm hoping to maybe get a few more buildings up in this area, get the area looking a little bit more complete. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Water Tribe, out.